Hello, friends. This is me. We are on Bible. We have made it to Bible. Yay! We fixed spelling. We fixed reading. We fixed social studies. Who's the best? We're the best. We got it. We got this. So we're going to try to finish up with Bible today. And I'm still cold. I'm still warming up on my heater here. And we're going to try to get Bible together. Today we have a quiz in Bible. So I'm going to give you the quiz format. We're going to do it on lined paper. This lined paper, you guys are getting experts and marking your paper. This is not going to be A-B paper. This is going to be yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And you know how to do yes, no. You're experts at this. So let's pull up the paper. Let's share my screen. Pull up the paper. There it is. Here we go. Here's my lined paper. Hopefully you can see it. And one more paper. This is the quiz that we're going to work on today, but this is the lined paper. So I need you, as always, to write your name, and your date, which is 1921. And this one is called Bible Quiz. Bible Quiz. And I need you to work on yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, all the way down, okay? And you can call if you need to stop the video and get your yes, no's done, that's fine. That's just fine. So for today, I want you to call your first yes, number 1, and your second yes is number 2, third yes is number 3, number 4, and number 5, okay? This gives us a worksheet. We've made a worksheet that's going to help us write our answers, and we're going to be sure to skip spaces. Now, when you get into middle school and high school, I know Miss Winston and Coach Howell and all the teachers over in the bigger classes, Miss Christie, Mr. Turner, Mr. Harris, all the teachers over there are going to ask you to do these skip spaces so that they can see your work and your work doesn't crunch up together and make it hard to read. Teachers love it when students have nice, tidy handwriting and nice, clean spaces in between. That's why we work so hard on our super sentences and our spacing. Okay, that's why we do these little activities, so that when you get into the next classroom, you're going to be ready to go. And your teacher is going to come back to me and say, Miss Howard, your kids know exactly how to write. They know exactly how to do spaces. Here, let me give you all my cupcakes. That's what we're looking for, right? So thought you'd appreciate that. So let's go. Make sure you get your yes, no, yes, no. Make sure you get your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here we go. We're going to jump back over to the Bible quiz. And it's a lesson 9 quiz, and it talks about God's plan for his people. This is what we've just been working on. Okay. This says circle the correct answer, but of course you don't have that option because you don't have this page. So you were going to write the answer. Not only is it good practice, spelling and writing, but it helps you jump back from one page to the other. It's really a good study skill, and I want you to work on this too. Number 1 says, well, let's read our choices first. Our choices are Canaan, Pharaoh, or Moses. Okay? Those are the choices for today. And let's read number 1. Number 1 says, the ruler of Egypt was. If you think the ruler of Egypt was Canaan, write this word on your paper. If you think the ruler of Egypt was Pharaoh, write this word on your paper. And if you think the ruler of Egypt was Moses, write this word on your paper. Right? This goes over on your paper over here, right here. You're going to write Canaan, or you're going to write Pharaoh, or you're going to write Moses, because you are going to tell me who the leader of Egypt was. Okay. Number 1 down, and then we'll come up to number 2. Number 2, your choices are Moses, Pharaoh, or Israel. And here's what the question says. Whom would God use to lead his people out of Egypt? Whose job was it to lead the people out of Egypt? Was it the job of Moses, Pharaoh, or Israel? Who was leading the people out? If you think Moses was sent to lead the people, write Moses on your paper for number 2. If you think it was the Pharaoh's job, write Pharaoh for number 2. And if you think the job fell to Israel, write Israel on number 2. So you're going to come back to your paper. If you think the leading God's people is Moses, write Moses. If you think it was Pharaoh, write Pharaoh. If you think it was Israel, write Israel. Okay. Finish that one up, and that brings us to number 3. Here we are, number 3. Okay. Number 3, my choices are, pull that up a little bit, make it a little bigger here. That might be easier to see. Your choices are, they would be thrown into the river, they would become slaves, or they would be saved. Okay, so let me help a little bit. So let's see, choices are going to be river, slaves, or saved. And here's the question. What was going to happen to the baby boys in Egypt? What did the Pharaoh say was going to happen to the baby boys in Egypt? Baby boys in Egypt. And these are the Israelite boys in Egypt that were born to the Israelites. Were they going to be thrown into the river? Were they supposed to be slaves, or were they going to be saved? What did the Pharaoh say was going to happen to those boys? All right. If you think they were going to be thrown into the river, write the word river here. If you think they were going to be slaves, write the word slaves here. And if you think they were going to be saved, write the word saved here. Okay. And these are the Israelite boys born in Egypt. The Israelite boys, what were going to happen to them? That brings us to number 4. Number 4 choices are the stars in the sky, the sand, or the people in Egypt. Okay, and here's the question. Number 4, God says his thoughts for us are greater in number than the stars in the sky, the sand, or the people in Egypt. If you think God says his thoughts for us are greater than the stars, write stars on your paper. If you think God says his thoughts for us are greater than the sand, write sand on your paper. And if you think his thoughts for us are greater than the people, write people for us on the paper. Okay, here's the paper. This I think is number 4 right here. And you're either write stars, sand, or people. All right. You're doing great, and we've got one left. And your choices are problem for us to solve or purpose for each of us. And number 5 says, God has a special blank. If you think God has a special problem for us, write problem on number 5. If you think God has a special purpose for us, write purpose on number 5. Here on number 5. Problem or purpose? Go ahead and go back in your video. I erased half of it. Go back in your video if you need to look at this and decide on your answers. Finish up your answers. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop recording and check this video, and then I'll put these up on the on YouTube for you. Okay, and then I'll start on Wednesdays videos. Okay, all right.